John Cornyn's the number 2 Republican, I believe, in the U.S. Senate. John Cornyn used to head the National Republican Senatorial Committee in 2009 and 2010. He used the money at the National Republican Senatorial Committee to support Arlen Specter over Pat Toomey in the Republican primary. He used the money at the National Republican Senatorial Committee to support Charlie Crist over Marco Rubio in the Republican primary. He used the money at the National Republican Senatorial Committee to support Trey Grayson over, you may have heard of him, Rand Paul in Kentucky. He has been an anti-conservative Republican cheerleader for years, while claiming to be one. He's a statist. He's quoted in this Politico piece today, trashing conservatives, insurgent candidates, the Tea Party. See, we're insurgent candidates. You know, we're not the base, we're the insurgency. And Cornyn says the party had experienced a very, very important evolution this year, one from which it would not turn back. Quote, where we ran into problems was where the small sliver of the party insisted, that would be you, on nominating people who could win the primary but couldn't win the general. You know, like Specter, Crist, and Trey Grayson. Those were his guys. And, of course, they backed Thad Cochran in Mississippi. That's a high-quality candidate. I would never vote for that guy. Period. Too much self-respect, you might say. This guy a joke? I won't use the 11th hour, the eve before the election, to go through the wonderful rhino candidates that are running all over the country, begging you and me to support them. No, I won't do that. But they can barely hold on because they're awful. Stephen Law. Now, this hack used to be the general counsel for the U.S. Chamber of Crony Capitalism. So he was hired by Karl Rove to be the president of American Crossroads. Stephen Law, the president of American Crossroads, said the group already felt vindicated for its intervention in the Alaska and North Carolina Senate primaries, which are neck and neck. Isn't Alaska a Republican state? Why is that neck and neck? Win, lose, or draw. North Carolina, Kay Hagan is a disaster. She's corrupt. Her family's corrupt. She's put her both feet in her mouth. And it's a close race. Why? In a Republican year like this, with a disastrous Obama and company? I think simply stating as a matter of policy that candidate quality should matter seemed to have an impact on the overall Republican culture this cycle. Yeah, so he backed Thad Cochran. What I saw this cycle is a greater seriousness and a greater attention to the quality and viability of candidates, and not simply looking for someone who fits an ideological mold. So you know this guy's a hack, he's a fraud, because conservatism isn't ideological. It's a way of life. It's based on experience and faith and family. Pathetic. Everybody knows Chris McDaniel in Mississippi would have been 1,000 times better than Thad Cochran. Everybody. But these people don't matter, ladies and gentlemen. They just don't matter. When history's written, they won't exist. They will never have existed. We're going to make history. It's just a matter of time. We're going to crush people like Steve Law, to use their language. John Cornyn won't be a footnote to a footnote in history. What the hell has he done in the Senate? Nothing that I can think of. He's from a solid conservative state, Texas, where we have wonderful brothers and sisters there. And he votes like he's from New England. Isn't it also interesting that they throw the first punch, we respond, and then we're attacked? We didn't go to Politico and start trashing the rhinos on election night or the eve before election. They did. Mitch McConnell actually did an interview with ABC News this evening. Here's the story. He's very cocky. Remember him? We're going to crush the Tea Party. McConnell told ABC News today Republicans would not make investigating the Obama administration a priority if the GOP wins control of the Senate. Quote, obviously, we intend to be a responsible governing Republican majority if the American people give us a chance to do that. They're not going to hold hearings on the scandals. They're not going to get to the bottom of the IRS issue. The reason why this is such a betrayal, ladies and gentlemen, is because the Senate has been in the clutches of Harry Reid, who's blocked serious investigations of these scandals. They've all had to be looked at in the House. So rather than have these joint investigative committees, now that the Republicans will control both chambers, he's saying no. No, we're not. Why not? We're going to do a combination of pointing out the things that we disagree on and the things we can possibly agree on and be a responsible governing Republican majority. This is amazing to me. First, they tell us they can't get anything through because Obama has the pen and he's going to veto whatever they send. Now they say we're going to be responsible governing majority. Do you know what that means? Yes, you do, because you're smart. Capitulation. They're going to do two things. They've already sat in their smoke-filled, shadowy rooms. They're going to do show votes so they can say, look what we did, and then other talk show hosts will say, aren't they great? Look what they did. What do you want from them? And then at the same time cut their deals. I am telling you, in the lame duck session of Congress, they have a couple of proposals working now, either to do a continuing resolution or this massive omnibus bill. They're working with the Democrats to load this damn thing up, to lard it up. People say, well, they've taken impeachment off the table so they don't have any control over the president. Even more, they've taken the power of the purse off the table. That's the great power, the power of the purse. The president can't spend a dime unless the Republicans now in Congress give it to him. And let me tell you something. Now, if they win, as everybody says they will, but we'll see, if they win tomorrow, they are 100% accountable for what happens under that dome in Congress. 100%. So, McConnell says, we've learned a couple lessons over the last two cycles that if you don't nominate really credible candidates, see how they all talk alike? You have a chance of not even taking advantage of a good year, and this could be a good year. Thad Cochran? Listen, after the election, I'll name half a dozen of them who have been pathetic candidates. The American people, I think, want to go in a different direction. They know the only thing they can do in 2014 is change the Senate. I'm no fan of this man. I don't like him in the least. Nothing personal, although I'm told personally he's extremely vindictive. But that's not the point. That's not the point. They have the money right now. They have the power. We understand. But it is amazing. Survey after survey, the American people despise Washington, despise the Democrats, and despise the Republicans more. But they're so fed up with Obama and Harry Reid that they're willing to hand the keys to the government, at least part of it, to the Republicans. Let me tell you something, McConnell. Let me tell you something, Boehner. Let me tell you something, Cornyn and all the rest of you. You're going to have your chance, should you win big tomorrow. And we're going to watch. You said that you would vote 51 votes on reconciliation to repeal Obamacare. What Obama does is what Obama does. We're going to watch. You said you would vote to secure the border. Not 15 other things, comprehensive immigration. No. You said no to amnesty and you would secure the border. We're going to watch. Mr. Priebus, your mouthpiece over there at the RNC, he told Breitbart that should Obama issue executive orders or his administration act without Congress's will to give legal status to millions of illegal aliens, that you and Congress are not going to stand for it. We'll see. We will watch. We will watch whether you surrender the power of the purse. That's the key. Stay focused on this. We will watch whether you surrender the power of the purse or not. And let me tell you something, folks. Understand this. If they do this massive omnibus bill, that just means this big, all-inclusive spending bill, appropriation bill, where they're supposed to do like 13 of them and just put them all into one so you won't know what's in them, and send it to Obama because they know he'll sign it, then they've given up the power of the purse. It is amazing to me how desperate these people are for power, and then they refuse to exercise it for good. It's amazing to me. It's appalling to me, quite frankly. Let me give you an example. One of my favorite websites, conservativereview.com. Have you gone to conservativereview.com yet? One of my favorite writers, Daniel Horowitz, there he is. Says, as we wait with bated breath for tomorrow night's results, we must remember that the battle for control of the agenda in Washington is not over. It's only beginning. But then he cites a Congressional Quarterly report, and he says the fix is already in on the budget and the spending. Here's what CQ says, not GQ, CQ. Away from the din of the campaign, House and Senate appropriation staffers are quietly laying the groundwork for an ambitious wrap-up spending package in the lame duck. The push is coming in part from Republican leaders who are making the case that they want to clear the decks for the 114th Congress and the prospect of Kentucky Republican Mitch McConnell becoming Senate Majority Leader. Nothing about the good of the nation, nothing about the debt, nothing about any of that. They want to clear the decks for Mitch. We need to do an omnibus bill funding the entire government for the rest of the year and get the whole business behind us so that come January, McConnell will have a clean slate rather than looking backwards to old fights that we could look forward to making positive changes, said House Appropriations Chairman Harold Rogers, "This jerk is a spendaholic from Kentucky. He's owned and paid for by Mitch McConnell. Been there forever." Rogers, who has been on the campaign trail with McConnell, said discussions have already begun with the White House about any additional funding changes that may be needed, but that the administration is yet to send over a list of formal requests. You believe this? This is what's going on behind the scenes. While they're going on and on about controlling spending, controlling government, how they're different. Mark, why are you bringing this up now? I want your eyes wide open. You're not drones. You're not party hacks. You're Americans. Republican leaders contend that passing an omnibus bill to wrap up current spending bills would allow them to focus on bigger and greater goals for next year, which, if you're keeping score at home, aren't really bigger or greater, just merely shiny objects to distract Americans from the fact that the mainstream Republicans have no intention of boldly leading the country back on track. But even if we credulously believe that by allowing the GOP to cave on current appropriations, it will result in auspicious agenda items for conservatives next year, it would be a mistake to let Congress pass an omnibus bill. As Rogers noted, they will not only grant Obama funding for every aspect of government, they will also throw in any additional appropriations for dealing with Ebola or the ill-advised Syria strategy. This means Republicans would be ceding their only potent tool, the power of the purse, until next year, allowing Obama to continue unfettered with his executive actions. Mitch McConnell has cut a deal with Obama. Just know, eyes wide open. I told you how I'm voting. He's already cut a deal. This is why they won't hold aggressive hearings on Obama's dictatorial and despotic actions. Because McConnell's going to look the other way. Oh, he'll whine. He'll put out a press release. He'll go on with Chris Wallace on Fox, flap his gums about it, but he's not going to do a damn thing about it, because once they do this big spending bill, they have no hooks left. And if you read Madison's notes, you read the Federalist Papers, it was not impeachment, but the power of the purse that the framers thought, first and foremost, would empower Congress to control the executive or the judiciary if necessary. And they surrender it every single time. Folks, don't be mad at me. Most of you aren't. But those of you who say, oh, well, look what he's doing. I'm not doing anything. They're doing it. Don't you want some integrity? Don't you want to know what's happening to your country? Don't you know where we're headed? Or you want me to get on here, rah-rah, these are the good guys, rah-rah, those are the bad guys, throw one line, oh, yeah, I know they suck, but. No. We're not drones. We're not liberals.